What's the best type of knife sharpener to buy for my knives, and is it really worth bothering with? Hi, I'm Murray from the YSC Cookery School, where we help to sharpen your skills in the kitchen and keep your cookery journey moving forward. Having sharp knives is really important for a number of reasons. There's no point in having good knives if you're not going to keep them sharp and look after them. So in this video I'm going to look at the different types of knife sharpeners and how and when to use them. I'll cover purchasing knives or our recommendations and actual knife skills in a different clip, but I'll leave those in the end card so you can check them out afterwards. So let's get into it. To begin with, it's really important to understand that there's sort of two different devices for sharpening knives. They come in a huge variety of styles, but they really do break down into two separate types of sharpeners. One is a grindstone or a whetstone that will grind down the steel on the knife and shape the edge properly. Okay, the old school traditional style is a block like this one. Okay, it's got two different grades of coarseness, if you like, in this whetstone. And devices like these wheels, okay, and this electric grinder are all versions of the same thing. Okay, the composite sandstone is there to grind down the knife and shape the edge. So I'd use these periodically to put an edge on my knife once it's gone, but not too often. It's not the thing to use on a daily basis. Now on the other end of the scale you've got this honing steel. Okay, now this steel I do use every day to take the burr off the edge. Okay, as I'm using my knife, chopping away, the nice peak that I've put on with my stone, the very, very tip of it wears down, okay, wears away. And I'm just going to hone the edge. I'm just going to top it up with this steel. Now, the sold is honing steels, or a diamond steel, or a sharpening steel. Now, the diamond steel is the same as a honing steel. It's just a little bit coarser. Okay, it's got a little bit more abrasion on the steel rod, and it cuts the knife edge. It cuts the steel down a little bit more, but nowhere near in the realm of these things. So in my kitchen, I probably reshape the edge on my knives with one of these devices, usually the electric one, probably once every month or two. Okay, when I'm using my knives every day. At home, that's probably 2 or 3 times a year. Okay, if you do it too much, you're just going to grind your knives away to nothing. These steels I use 4, 5 or 6 times a day. Okay, basically before I start a new job, I start on it with the steel. Now, it's quite straightforward. You're basically looking for about a 20-degree angle, okay, on the steel. So if you start with 90 and halve it again, you're about right. And there's several ways to do it. I start with the heel like this, pull down towards myself, and then do the same on the other side. Now, with each stripe, you should be able to feel that one side has a little bit more resistance. It's that side. Okay, and you finish on the side with the most resistance. And you should really notice that it's nice and sharp. Okay, the other way to do it, which arguably is a bit safer, is to do the same thing like this. As you like, it's your choice. For me, the easiest is like this, and it's just habit forming. You find that you pick the steel up all the time, 2 or 3 swipes on the knife, and then it's back to its best. Okay, now to use these, I'm not going to go into a whetstone because I think that it's quite a skill using a whetstone. Back in the day, you'd have someone come around with one of these and sharpen all your knives a couple of times a month in the restaurant. But it does take a lot of practice, and the risk of ruining your knives. It's easy to have one of these more convenient ones. Now this manual one is a small wheel. It's got 2 wheels in it. Sometimes they have 3, sometimes they have 1. They come in all sorts of styles. Underneath is a little reservoir that I've put some water in. It helps to keep the stone wet. Plastic guard on the top has a guide to make sure I've got the knife in the right place, and the wheels are offset, so as I pull it through, it's always going to have the right angle on it, and that's the beauty of one of these little wheels. It's very convenient and it's easy to make it the same each time. If you were using one of these, really the same person wants to sharpen the knife each time. Otherwise the edge on the blade ends up all over the place, and you never really get it into its peak performance. Okay, so that goes on like that. You start at the front and you pull it back like this. 1, 2, 3, 9 or 10 times, something like that. Okay, now this is the coarse one, number 1. Number 2 is the finer one. So I would start here if my knife was really bad, and then I'd move up to this second one, like this. And it should reshape the edge. You might need to, depending on how bad the knife is, you might need to do it 15 or 16 times, 20 maybe if it's really bad. Okay, so that's how that works. Something else that I use a lot in the restaurant is probably my favorite choice, and these range in cost from 20 quid to 300 depending on how professional you want to get, is a grindstone. Now inside they've got the same small wheel as this, well it's slightly bigger than this, and the angle is dictated by these slots. And again, this is the coarse one and this is the finer one. And I'm just going to turn it on. And pull. Now the key thing here is that you're pulling them through at an even speed on both sides and the even number of stripes on both sides. Okay, to keep that edge nice, and that's really beautifully sharp, really sharp. As you can tell by the sound of this grindstone, it's a lot more aggressive than one of these. So 2 or 3 swipes on each side, on each wheel, would be enough to bring your knife back from a really dull place to nice and sharp. Okay, whereas sometimes these wheels take a bit longer. Depending on your budget and depending on how often you're using your knives, the choice is up to you. So I hope that's been some help. If you've got any questions about this video or any of the videos on our channel, feel free to leave them below in the comments. If you'd like to have a closer look at the knives and sharpeners that we recommend, then the link's down below for our recommended equipment page. And remember to hit subscribe if you'd like to see more from us, our weekly clips on helping you to transform your cooking. Thanks for watching. See you soon.